When working with a fresh cut of lamb, such as this one we have here, we have a 2-bone lamb rack. So you've got that beautiful, nice, dense layer of fat on the top there, and the succulent loin meat down the center. Just wearing my gloves to avoid any kind of cross-contamination. It's also a great thing to put on just before you marinate your meat, so you can then throw them away and your hands are still nice and clean to work with everything else. So, starting off with lamb marination, I've got some of my dried harissa paste here that goes into my bowl, followed through with some fresh ginger, generous squeeze of lemon juice, with my tomatoes, I just want to squash them in here and get all those tomato juices in there also. We're then going to use the tomatoes and roast them in the oven with the lamb itself. There's a few different variations to the recipe, just depending on where you're making it and what kind of establishment you're working at. Mixing all of that together, just a dash of salt. Also going to get some fresh thyme and gently crush those leaves in there with the marinade, mixing it all together. This is quite a dry rub or a dry marinade. So I've also got over here a little bit of soy sauce mixed up with some harissa paste and a little bit of lemon juice, just to moisten up that mixture a tad. Our oven is preheated and ready. Now what you want to do is mix all those spices and herbs together, and then after that we want to take our lamb rack and nicely mix that in there. Give it a good rub, get all those spices all around it, in between the fat, over the fat there, nicely squashing it all together. Once it's all nice and marinated, we're going to pop it back on our baking tray and pop it into the oven. I'm going to start off at about 210 degrees, just so that fat on the top starts to caramelize and render off. And then halfway through the cooking process, we'll drop it down to about 160, because I want the lamb cutlets to be pink and medium rare in the center. If you didn't want to use the oven, what you could also do is you could actually use a char grill. So you could start off the cooking process on the char grill, fat side down, rendering all that fat, and then just turning the char grill down low and letting it slowly simmer away. Once I've done that, I can take my gloves off. We're going to pop our lamb into the oven. (210 degrees) till the fat renders, caramelizes golden brown. We're then going to drop it down and let it slow cook till it's just about medium rare. While that's happening, I've got my baby spinach that goes into my bowl. I've got some beautifully diced up Spanish onions, a few of those in there. And then I've also got some beans that I've blanched earlier. The actual beans themselves, I've blanched them in a mixture of veal stock and chicken stock, just to give it that added depth of flavor. Just a few of those in there. Fresh squeeze of some lime juice. Now in this recipe, you could also use broad beans if you wanted to. Snow peas work quite well. Today we've decided to use green beans. Squeeze that all in there. Dropping it in there. Nice handful of salt, some cracked pepper, and a few bay leaves, and then just tossing all of that together. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pop this into the fridge or into the cool room so it can cool down, it can sit in those lime juices and just mull there for a while. When it comes back out, we've got our black garlic aioli. We're going to use the black garlic aioli to dress the salad, bring it all together and give it that extra depth of flavor. Our lamb's almost ready to come out of the oven. It's just at that medium rare point. We're going to finish dressing our salad now. So with our black garlic aioli, nice dollop in there. And then give it all a good mix together. The black garlic aioli just helps bring all those flavors together and nice and evenly coats the beans, onions and spinach. Now to plate up, we can use this salad as our bed on the base there and then nicely place our lamb rack on it. And those Spanish onions together with the black garlic aioli flavor and the spice from the harissa of the lamb racks all just blends in perfectly well together. Now to take our lamb rack out of the oven. Looks delicious. Just about medium rare. Grab our tongs. And gently just placing that across there. Slight bit of some sea salt. Now if you wanted, you could drizzle on some more chili oil onto that or a chili garlic oil. Even a saffron infused chili oil goes really well. But it's a great dish to serve up as a main course. Medium rare, nice and pink in the center when the customer cuts into it. See the bones earlier that we Frenched? They look nice and clean. If you wanted as an extra hint, you could actually wrap those bones up in a little bit of aluminium foil, just a little bit of oil, then wrapped up in aluminium foil and baked in the oven. That would just give the bones a little bit of a shine once they come out of the oven. But I think it looks beautiful like that. The salad's nice and rich, well dressed. The freshness from those tomatoes will balance out the hint of chili from the harissa. Easy, simple recipe, but if done perfectly, tastes amazing.